Degens, welcome back to another episode of Devy Degens. This is an exciting one because we're actually doing, of course, we're getting in the kitchen and we're going to do a little bit of this or that. I'm SC Romero. That's Tom Harvey. We are the Devy Scouts, and this is the Devy Degens.
Breaking down the hate, man, we call it like we see it. Finding all the gems while the rest just sleeping. Freshmen to the league, we ahead of the curve. Picking out the next star, put them on the reserve. From the big time schools to the deep cut finds. Gotta know who's next when it's draft day time. Stock rising, playmaking, watch them ball out. Devy Degens, yeah, no doubt. Yo, it's time to talk the future Devy style. Prospects rising, diamonds shine, and only the real ones grinding. Welcome to the Devy Degens, let's go. Let's go!
Let's get it, man. Tommy, how are you doing today, my man?
That intro always gets me hyped, man. Just ready to go for it.
Oh, yeah. And the exciting part is this is going to be an exciting episode because before we're going to get into the kitchen, of course, with our hot takes, but we're doing a little bit of this or that. So we're going to talk about the 2025 rookies and some NFL veterans and who we rather have. And in that intro video, you actually saw some people that we'll be talking a lot about this year, and then we're going to be talking about them in the draft come next year as well. So we're going to start off with, of course, the kitchen, right? What are we cooking up in the kitchen with our hot takes right now? And I'm going to start it off here, and I'm going to say 10 running backs will be drafted in the first 3 rounds of the 2025 NFL draft. In the past 10 years, the most that have been taken is 9. I think this class is special. I think this class is one of a kind and unique. And I say 10 are going to be taken in the first 3 rounds. Is that a spicy take, or is that somewhere where it's like it's actually a pretty warm one, or, cold, if you will?
I think you're probably about right with it. It may even be slightly more than that if you really dig down into the into this running back class.
Right.
You're looking at Jeanty, Hampton, Henderson,
right. Quinshon,
Judkins,
Caleb. I think those are the 5 locks. We know those 5 go, right? So we assume.
Yeah, then you got Giddens and Neal and Sampson and Tootin and Scatabo. I mean, there's 10.
Yeah.
Then we haven't even gotten to RJ Harvey. Haven't even gotten to certain other dudes that I'm guarantee we're missing a bunch of them.
Oh yeah.
Hello, I can pull them up right now and see what I got here.
Possible one's Ollie Gordon, maybe. Some teams may be heavy on him, right? You may have someone that goes out and says, we like
Taj,
him.
Yeah, you got Taj Brooks, you got you got
So you're looking at your rankings right now to see all these guys here.
Yeah, Taj Brooks, Damian Martinez, Trevor Etienne.
That's another 5. He's listed 15. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this class is very special. I think if they would, as we get closer, it's possible. At first, I was pretty set that 2 go in the first round. My 2 are Jeanty and Hampton. I think Quinshon's easing up in there too. I just think a lot of teams are starting to realize, this is a good running back as well. With Quinshon Judkins, and he's a phenomenal back as well. But at the same time, the guys that you mentioned, I think in day 2, there's going to be a run of just running backs back to back to back. Like teams are going to start being afraid.
Especially in the third round. And then guys who, there's going to be a lot of day 3 dudes. We just ran off, 5 or 6 day 3 guys. It's just crazy how deep this class is. How many of these guys will have NFL futures.
Right. And I think when it comes to day 2, some teams are going to start to get scared. They're like, we got to get one of these top running backs on our list, right? On their prospect board or whatever you want to call it, and say, we did go get ours. So you may see some trades up just to get that next running back that they have in their rankings. Make sure, hey, I want to solidify. We get Damian Martinez or we get Devin Neal and stuff like that. So, but at the same time, if not, it's good. This is a draft class where we've said it multiple times. Draft the running backs in your rookie rounds when it gets to the the late 2nd, late 3rd. Draft your running backs over the guys because it is so deep, and these running backs all have the ability to be playmakers at that next level. They have shown it consistently through their career that this is an opportunity for them, and they may take it if it is there. Plus, you have a lot of teams kind of go into that running back committee type of style. So depending on what running back there is. Like I wouldn't necessarily like Charles Brooks in a committee, but I also know he's probably gonna be a goal line back when he gets in. But
Right.
He's so rare to see him get the full workload because he is so that can pound the rock for him and gain those inches throughout the game as well. So
a guy who we didn't even mention a second ago, who I would love to see in some type of committee approach, Jarquez Hunter from Auburn.
Yep. Jayden Blue, Jordan James. I think those could be good committee guys
absolutely.
too. So 100%. I mean, this class is deep. Maybe that was as high as you said. Like it is very likely that can happen. But yeah, I think 10 running backs go within the first 3 rounds. It may be more, like you said. Go ahead and give me one of your takes.
I'm gonna say Tyler Warren will be a top 5 dynasty tight end by the end of the 2025 season. Matter of fact, I would actually have him, depending on landing spot, which I'm assuming is going to be a pretty good landing spot, considering he's probably going to go top 10-ish. I would probably have him top 5 as soon as he enters the league.
Okay.
I mean,
so
right now I have Pat Freiermuth as my tight end 5. So I would put Tyler Warren over him as soon as he enters the league. I think he does. I think he's able to do more. I think he's a more versatile and dynamic receiver. You could line him up as Penn State was lining him up as a wildcat quarterback.
Right.
Dude has Brock Bowers type of athleticism to him. And I just think he's more versatile than what like a Pat Freiermuth is.
So when you said Pat Freiermuth at 5, is that for 2025 or that's dynasty ranks?
That's dynasty. That's my dynasty ranks.
Okay. So dynasty rank, he's a top 5 wide receiver in the 2025 or to start in dynasty as well. So
he's a top 5 tight end. Yes.
So Brock Bowers, Trey McBride are 1 and 2, right?
Yep.
However you have them, that's fine. I know they're 1 and 2. Okay. So then I'm gonna just throw some shots out here, just who I think you may have as it. Is Kyle Pitts in your top 5?
He's not.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not disappointed there. So then George Kittle?
Nope.
Okay.
I got Kittle down. Looks like 9th.
And this is probably an age factor dealing with that, right?
Age factor, bad back. Yeah.
Okay. So Sam Laporta is in there.
I got Bowers, McBride, Laporta, T.J. Hawkinson, Freiermuth are my top 5.
Okay. I mean, with those rankings, it depends on landing spot. I like Hawkinson a lot, but you may put Warren above Hawkinson. Honestly, Hawkinson's nice, but I mean, the pay. Right now, I've seen Warren go to in mocks. I've seen him go to the Panthers. I've seen the Broncos potentially take him. All better spots than what I like with Hawkinson, just based on what Hawkinson has around him.
Right,
like
because Hawkinson's the 3rd option there.
Right, exactly. So that could easily just transcend Warren to a higher spot as well. Right. Now, if that's the case, then where's Loveland in that situation for you?
He's probably more down towards where Kittle is.
Okay.
We're gonna get into that conversation a little bit later on.
For sure. Okay.
But he's probably hovering right around where George Kittle is.
Okay. That's fair. I like that. I think, Bowers was, landing spot when it comes to these tight ends, because you have some tight ends that are very athletic, very well versatile in what they can do, but then they go to a coach that doesn't use them correctly and just use them as a tight end instead of, getting them outside or, like you said, that wildcat type of formation. And that could definitely be something that kind of hurts Warren if he's in that bad situation. But athletically, I'm not necessarily mad at that. I could see that. And I feel a lot of people have him, ranked higher than some of these vets that have been producing when it comes to dynasty, because yes, that age does play a factor. And we're in the era where we're kind of seeing the old age out and the new kind of come in, right? It's no longer Kelsey, Kittle, Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews had the injury. Kittle, what quarterback situation, sometimes running back situation. Kelsey getting older. Is this his last year? So kind of getting these younger guys in and the vets out. So I like that.
Yeah, just kind of a, FYI for you. I've got Isaiah Likely in my top 10. I don't have Mark Andrews in there.
I mean, to be honest, the way Mark Andrews finished the season, it wasn't so great. So, coming back from injury, it's like that is worrisome. And I feel they didn't use Isaiah Likely as much towards the end of the season when Mark Andrews came back, because they still wanted to. That's our guy. But I think we're going to see a little bit more Likely coming in because, again, he didn't look the same post-injury, in my opinion, when it came to Mark Andrews.
I think you're going to see a little bit of phasing out
Yeah.
So I think right now is the time to buy Likely.
Yeah, if you can. I mean, to be honest, though, you might be better off buying Andrews at a lower cost, because if Andrews gets moved, come draft day, if they believe in him too, that's something that could be possible as well.
Yeah, exactly. So if you problem is right now you're probably buying Andrews at a little bit higher price, so
Right.
you're probably wanting to get him after he gets traded, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Likely you're going to get him at a low cost right now
because Andrew's still there.
Because Andrew is still there.
Yeah, 100%. I like that. My next one here is a little bit. I feel this was probably our spiciest one. My thing is, no quarterback in the 2025 class will be starting quarterback in 6 years. Do you agree with that? No quarterback in the 2025 class will be a starting quarterback. So this is saying first round quarterbacks, they get their option, and then that's it. Like one may get their option, but then that year after their option, that's it. Because you gotta think, Shedeur, Cam Ward, maybe Dart possibly going round one. So they have that 5th year option. They get it, but I don't think anything after that, to get that second contract, I don't think they're starting.
Right. I don't know. I mean, you still have Daniel Jones, who is still who still may be a starting quarterback in the league.
Yep.
So, and I look at those 3 guys as probably being better quarterbacks than Daniel Jones is.
For sure.
Now, Daniel Jones is a little bit more versatile just because he's able to run. So you're not going to see a whole lot of running from Shedeur Sanders. I just don't think that's part of his game. But I think all 3 of those. I think Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and Jackson Dart are all 3 better than Daniel Jones, and he's still a starting quarterback. So,
but to that point, Daniel Jones has been in the league for 6 years, not including this upcoming season. Last year he got hurt, so he didn't finish off. He was a starting quarterback for those first 4. Now he's a backup technically, or ideally behind JJ McCarthy in Minnesota. I think he's a free agent. Actually, I don't think they signed him. No, he's an Indy now.
Indy. He's with Indy.
So he maybe started with Anthony Richardson. So he's on that fringe of not that starting in 6 years, right? And that's where I'm saying, like, especially if you're taking in the first round, they're not going to just dump you out the gate, right? Unless you're just god awful and say we're not doing this. I mean, Richardson's a prime example right now where it's like, hey, we're going to start bringing competition for you. These quarterbacks, we can presume or assume if our Cam Ward goes number 1 to the Tennessee Titans. So the first overall pick, does he start consistently? Maybe, but if he struggles 5 years from now, we have new quarterbacks. You have 2027 in 2 years. Maybe they're taking a shot somewhere, So
yeah,
that's I don't have long-term trust in these guys.
If Cam Ward is not the starter there in 6 years, then something's gone horribly wrong in Tennessee, and they've gone through 2 more coaches.
Yeah,
and probably 2 more GMs.
Yeah, and I see that's 100% possible. We see it time and time again where they don't get wide receivers to help them out, and then they just struggle, and then you become a Baker Mayfield where you have to go and be a backup in Los Angeles, and then you get your shot in Tampa, right? I mean, to be honest, Drake May's looking great.
Yeah, just look at Geno Smith, look at Sam Darnold. Those guys, were kind of written off, and until the last couple of years, and even this year with this past year with Sam Darnold, nobody thought he was going to be. Nobody thought he was going to be anything. Now he's the working on another contract and starting up in Seattle. So
for sure, I will justify that take in saying 6 years not starting quarterback. 4 years past from that 6 years, 10 years to get a shot happens again. It can happen, but I just don't think I have long-term trust in these teams. And honestly, if I'm Tennessee, I'm getting Abdul Carter because you lost Harold Landry. I'm getting Abdul Carter at 1. I'm going with Will Levis as my guy. Maybe trading for Kirk Cousins or maybe trying to figure out if Aaron Rodgers wants to come. And then I'm going at the quarterback next year.
That almost makes sense. Just because next year's class is a little bit more, potentially a little bit more loaded.
For sure.
I mean, all that depends on who comes out in, next year's class. But I mean, you still got 3-4 guys who are 2026 eligible that may not come out. So,
yeah, 100%. I just think I don't think every year your coach. It doesn't matter who you are. As a coach, you're on the hot seat. If you have a bad season, you're probably out. So when you see that quarterback there in the draft, you're like, I gotta take a shot and get him. So I mean, I get why you would draft Cam Ward. I get why you drafted Shedeur, Jackson Dart, whatever it is. I gotta take that shot to have my franchise quarterback, if you will. But I think, if you're a coach that you're talking to your GM and you're talking to the owners, like, hey, this is my game plan, right? This is what we want to do. We have this target for next year. This is, how you kind of adjust. But, again, you're fighting for your job every year. So I understand trying to get that quarterback. I just, again, not too heavy on these drafts. However, when we talk about getting paid in these quarterbacks, I mean, if we're trying to draft winning teams, what are we doing right now to draft the winning team and get some money, Tommy?
Oh yeah, man. We're downloading that Fast Draft app. Tired of waiting on your rookie drafts? You want to go ahead and build a portfolio for you're able to use for the season. Going over to Fast Draft, enter our promo code DEGEN DEGEN and get $25 deposit.
There you go. Let's take a little quick look at our sponsor here for Fast Draft.
Rookie. It's all about rookie talk in fantasy football right now. So why not go use all that knowledge to do something other than a mock draft? Chris Gimino won $8,000 with just 2 teams last year, and each draft took 5 minutes. That's pretty good ROI. You can start doing rookie drafts for money today on Fast Draft. The Origins tournament is live. It is the place to go and monetize your knowledge of rookies and use your favorite player profiler host promo code for a $25 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Tell you what, the cost of eggs, I need to win that 8K, man, just so I can get some eggs now, right? So it's let's try to win all that. But that was our hot takes right now. We're going to dive into some Q&A, some questions I have for you, Tommy. And then we'll, get into our special segment of this series, the this or that. But the first one, this is going to be one that could ruffle some feathers. But is Ashton Jeanty a prospect we won in Dynasty, or will he be the next Rashad Penny, or even Kevin Smith from UCF back in the day? Well, what are your thoughts here?
Ashton Jeanty is the 1-1 right now for rookie drafts. So, I mean, obviously it depends on draft capital and landing spot, but with Jeanty, I don't think you really have to worry about draft capital because he's going first round. Okay. He's going high in the first round, most likely. And landing spot, there's been talk about the Raiders, there's been talk about the Bears, even the Cowboys. If either of those 3 happen, that's a dream landing spot for him.
For sure.
If he falls to the Panthers or the Saints, then you're kind of getting into a little bit muddy waters for a couple seasons because both of them kind of have, with the Saints you got Kamara, with the Panthers you got
Chuba,
and then they also brought in who'd they bring in this offseason? I know they brought in a guy.
Rico
Dowdle. And then Jonathan Brooks. I know he's hurt again, but eventually he's going to come back, right? So
yeah.
You just don't want him to land in some type of murky spot. But honestly, you're able to say the same thing about Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, and Amari and Hampton, right? You don't want them to fall in bad spots. Honestly, the Steelers would be a great spot too, but he's not going to last that far.
So you mentioned the Raiders. Right now, the Raiders are 6, which would be great if they got him. Especially when Pete Carroll's there. We know he likes to run the ball. We've seen it, from back in the day with Seattle till even the later seasons with Seattle. He loves to run, so that'd be a fantastic landing spot, especially with Geno there. Kind of get some pressure off him. Awesome. And we know he's the guy there. He's beating out Samir White. I don't know if Madison's still signed, but he's beating out Madison if he's still there as well. That's at 6, right? And then you said the Bears. Bears are 10. So I would love the Bears because I feel that gives Ben Johnson his Jahmyr Gibbs in a sense, like just his star running back to say, hey, this is our guy here. And now you have him and I'm trying to blank DeAndre Swift. Right. So now you have them as a 1-2, which would be phenomenal. But that's 6 and 10. 7, you have the Jets. And there's been rumors that, the guy that I think it was Aaron Glenn said, hey, I want to run a committee approach.
I think the Jets kill his value.
Yeah, 100%. Because now it's like, oh, if you draft him, you better be. I'll tell you, you better be for fantasy trading Breece Hall if they draft Ashton Jeanty. Now, the Jets better be trading Breece Hall.
Right. Well, the Jets have 3 running backs right now that you feel comfortable throwing out there. Breece Hall and Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. I mean, they got 3 guys that you feel comfortable with. Why would they go draft another running back when they got tons of other holes that they need to fill?
But you feel more.
But yet, if Jeanty landed at the Jets, that's a terrible landing spot for him.
But even if they traded Breece Hall, are you comfortable taking Jets, or are you still a little concerned if they trade Breece Hall and draft Jeanty?
I don't like using a committee approach with a bell cow running back.
Fair. I like that point. Then say less. I get that. Okay, then you said 7's New York Jets. Then it was 8 with the Panthers. You already talked about the Panthers. Granted, I do like Jeanty over Hubbard, over Brooks with the injury, but they just paid Chuba Hubbard. So if Jeanty falls, you're like, hey, let's get him. That's just malpractice, if you will. Like, why use out your running back? Like, why get a first round running back at that point? Jeanty fell in second. By all means, take him. But, why waste that pick on there where you need other options? You need wide receivers. Right. If Ted's there, you're taking him. Then you set 9 with the Saints. Kamara's getting older. Kamara's still there for a season. The Jets take Ashton Jeanty. Is that just kills Kendre Miller then, correct?
Kills Kendre Miller. And I don't like using Ashton Jeanty as a change of pace with Alvin Kamara.
Right.
I mean, you're able to do that with a DeAndre Swift in Chicago just because Swift – kind of stays, kind of nicked up a little. But Kamara is the Saints organization. So
right.
I don't like him going to the Saints there and having to kind of share that spot with Alvin Kamara, who is the guy there, who has been the guy there.
Right. 100%. Okay. I like that. I agree. And I'm a huge fan of Kendre Miller, so I hope that doesn't happen. That would just suck. I believe he can do it. He just hasn't shown it quite yet. Then you said 10 is that with the Bears. We talked about them. You said the Cowboys. Cowboys are at 12, so we'll talk about them here in a sec. But then the 11 right now is the 49ers. What if Jeanty goes to the 49ers? What does that do?
Again, I don't like it. You got CMC there. You got Isaac Guerrero there. I don't like the fit. It just doesn't make sense for the Niners to do something like that. And again, that would kind of hurt it would hurt Jeanty's value having to sit, because he's sitting behind CMC.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Bottom line, CMC is the guy. Till the day he's going from San Francisco, he's the guy.
Yep.
So that wouldn't make any sense for me either.
But out of all the teams we just said, and including the Cowboys, I feel if he went to the 49ers, that would be the most hype he's going to receive being on the 49ers compared to other teams, just because we know what 49ers produce as running backs and how they can do it. But I agree.
Kind of production value.
Yeah. It's a waiting game. And it's like, all right, do you want to wait? Like you're waiting for CMC to get hurt again, or you're hoping they trade him because it's not his backfield at that time. And then he said the Cowboys at 12. I know a lot of people speculate the Cowboys take a running back. I've been on the horse. I'm planting my flag. Cowboys aren't taking a running back at 12. Even if Jeanty's there, I don't think they take Jeanty at 12. I just don't think it's a Cowboy move.
They just don't do it. I mean, Cowboy. I mean, when was the last time the Cowboys drafted a running back in the first round? Zeke.
Yep.
And then they turned around and gave him way too much money and ended up cutting him.
Yep.
That cost them from getting Derrick Henry last year.
Yep. I agree. And that's something 100%. And I think they got who? Miles Sanders and I'm trying to blank here.
Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams. So they got 2 lower end. So I just, as soon as they sign those 2, even though it's 1-year deals, I think for both of them, I'm like, they're not drafting a running back. I don't know where. There's a fantasy land some people live in that Cowboys draft a running back in the first. I'm like, no. Why? They're gonna get an offensive tackle. They're gonna get maybe a defensive back. But in the second round is where they're gonna get your Trevion Henderson or Quinshon Judkins or even Caleb Johnson. I don't think they're gonna waste it on that first round pick there.
The Cowboys have a massive hole that they have to fill there in the first round. They can go second round with a Trevion Henderson.
So from picks 6 to 12, we gave y'all 3 teams we enjoyed and we'd be like, yeah, this is it for Ashton Jeanty. And then 4 teams where we're like, if they end up taking Jeanty, we don't know how we feel about this. It's hard to say. I know he's the bona fide 101 of your rookie drafts. Kevin Smith at UCF, back in the day, back in 2007. He ran in 2007 for 2,500 yards at UCF. Got drafted in the 3rd round, so granted, not as much hype as Jeanty did, and then he didn't do much in the NFL level as well. He was a bell cow. He got the carries, but he still didn't do much at the NFL level. So for me, there's worrisome, right? I know it's not great to scout the helmets, but you have to look at that. He's now does Jeanty do what he did this past season at Boise State if he's an Alabama running back?
He wouldn't do it in the SEC, no. But I mean, you saw what he did to Oregon, put up over 200 yards against Oregon. So
yep, I saw that game. Oregon wasn't the same defense it was later in the season,
right?
But I get it.
It's not that Oregon had a great defense or anything, but I mean that's still a national title contending team. So
yep, he put it up against Penn State too. So I get it. Mm-hmm. But again, that's all your offense when you have no one else. That says a lot. So is he doing that at the next level where you have guys that are all, your SEC Big Ten type of players? Is he doing that same? He's gonna get the work, but it also concerns me.
But you're also talking about having the best offensive minds, best offensive linemen. If he goes to the Bears, great offensive line. If he goes to the Raiders, good offensive line.
Bears struggled last year in the offensive. They had some struggles with protecting Caleb there.
Yeah, but they've also brought in a couple guys. So
that's true. Yep. That's gonna be a fun one. I think Jeanty's gonna be. It's gonna be exciting. He could end up being Kevin Smith, or he could end up being the best running back since Bijan. Who knows? But that's gonna be a good one for sure. I'm excited to see where he lands there. One more question here for you, Tommy. I've been hearing a lot of Jayden Higgins. A lot of people love him as a wide receiver. Is he all hype, or is he actually someone we should try to target?
I think you should try to target him. I mean, again, it depends on landing spot, but I have him kind of ranked up there with Tre Harris. Higgins got better when he transferred up to Iowa State from Eastern Kentucky. That doesn't normally happen. A guy doesn't normally transfer up and get better.
Right.
Doesn't normally transfer up and destroy the stats he had previously. And he did that 2 years in a row at Iowa State. He's got really good speed for his size. He ran a 4.47 at the combine. He's 6'4", 215. So, size speed combo. And he's proven to be pretty versatile. His first season at Iowa State, he averaged 18.5 yards per catch. That was on 53 catches. In 2024, he jumped his production up, but his average dropped from 18.5 to 13.6 because he was running more short to intermediate routes because he was a more reliable receiver. And so he's kind of proven he can play both. He can be that deep threat guy, or he can be your intermediate guy and be completely fine either way.
Right.
So I would say Higgins is a guy that you're probably targeting second roundish.
With that, I mean, if he's gonna be someone, he gets drafted in day 2, second or third round. I don't think he's going in there to be a 1. He's going there to be a wide receiver 2, whatever team takes him. Right. At that point, I don't know if that team uses him as short and intermediate. I feel they just use him as a field stretcher, similar to what like a T. Higgins is, right? Just a field stretcher in that sense, where it's like someone that could go down. Higgins can do your short and intermediate, but we see a lot more where he's going downfield.
Right. But you're also looking at a guy like on your fantasy team, T. Higgins and Jordan Addison and Devonta Smith are all extremely valuable.
Right.
They're wide receiver 2s on their team, but they're probably also wide receiver 2 or even possibly if they fall that far, a wide receiver 3 for you on your fantasy team, which are still startable guys.
For sure. I think Higgins can't be that. I think he definitely needs the right quarterback that knows how to adjust and make his plays and make those deep shots, because he does have some burners on him. So if he is someone that's that boomer bust, right? I think I'm more on the edge of that's where he's going to be, a boomer bust. One of the receivers that you start him, he's not going to be consistently getting you double-digit fantasy points. There's going to be some weeks where he doesn't have any receptions just because he gets shut down or they just don't get to him. Then there's going to be some weeks where he leads the team in receptions and he has 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I think it's not a consistent value enough for me. I think he's going to be all over the place as far as fantasy production.
I mean, it's kind of like I said, I've got him ranked up there with like Tre Harris. So he's right around that wide receiver 5 or 6 in this draft for me. But the draft is still pretty deep with you probably go 8 to 10 wide receivers deep in this draft for guys that are going to be solid producers.
I'm trying to see right now. So right now I'm looking at Tankathon for a mock. They have Jayden Higgins at 68 in the third round to the Raiders, which him and Jacoby Myers. I mean, yeah, and then they have him taking Jeanty too. I mean, that could be a little nice offense that can do some work with him, right? So
I don't hate that.
Yeah, I think that could be a good spot.
And in that offense, Higgins could potentially jump Myers for that wide receiver 1 spot.
Myers is a sleepy person, a sleepy wide receiver, like a heavy sleeper, because I think he does have solid production when he's the guy, but he's also been the guy because he hasn't had much competition. So you bring in someone like Higgins that can stretch the field for him, and now you have Myers doing more underneath routes. That's going to hurt Myers' value because he's not necessarily a yak guy, but he's someone that can get open down the field. Yep. So I think that could be huge for him as well. So I like that.
And then neither one of them are going to be the top target because that's Brock Bowers.
Yeah, 100%. So you're fighting for the second, in targets there as well. I agree. Mm-hmm. But let's get into it. This is gonna be a spicy segment here, and we're gonna bring some heat to y'all here. This is a this or that segment for y'all. And so how this is working, Tommy, I'm giving you some rookies in the 2025 class and some veterans. And when I say veterans, I just mean someone that was in the league already. Now, it doesn't matter how long they were in the league, just an NFL veteran. They had a year in the league at least. Compared to a 2020 rookie, a year, tell me, would you take this guy or that guy? All right, you ready for this?
Yep.
All right. So let's start it off with some spicy. We'll get spicier as we go. Would you rather have Quinshon Judkins, Ohio State running back, or Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis Colts running back?
At this point, I'd say JT. He's proven to be a top tier NFL running back, whereas Quinshon is all projection right now. We're kind of hoping for a favorable landing spot. With running backs, it's really hard because, we've seen over the last several years where guys who you thought were top end running backs coming into the draft fell into really bad landing spots. Braylon Allen fell to the 5th or 6th round.
Yeah, 100%.
And fell to the Jets, and now he's battling for scraps behind Breece Hall. Right. So I mean, it all depends on where on landing spot. Like a couple years ago, nobody expected Clyde Edwards-Helaire to be a first-round pick.
Right. I'm sorry.
He got a favorable landing spot. He was okay for a year or two, and then really fell off after that. But it just depends on landing spot with these guys.
I let people eat all that hype when he went, first round. I was like, yes, take him in the rookie drafts above other guys that I want, because I'm not in on Edwards-Helaire. Now you say JT, if Anthony Richardson is the starting quarterback, now he has a competition with the quarterback that likes to run the ball, big quarterback that can move the ball with his feet as well. So now there's competition in JT. Now, if Judkins goes to a favorable landing spot, this Tankathon that I'm looking at right now has Judkins going round 2 to the Washington Commanders. I don't necessarily like that, but I do know they want to run the ball as well, so that's going to take over. I feel they're drafting to take over Brian Robinson.
With another running quarterback.
With another running quarterback for sure. And I still think Judkins has consistently proven to us at elite levels in the SEC and the Big Ten that he could be a versatile back and could make it happen when he needs to make it happen as well. So in my eyes, because JT has dealt with some injuries, because JT has a strong running quarterback, I feel I would lean Judkins. Like I feel if the value's there, I could trade JT for Judkins plus, and I'd be comfortable with that because I think the value is there for Quinshon Judkins. Now you're 100% right. Running backs go all around, and it's like they go to the spot, and these teams don't use them, and now we just lost tons of value. But if there were my opportunity, like if he went to Pittsburgh, that would be a dream landing spot. I would love that 100%. I would take him all day over Jonathan Taylor. There are a lot of teams where I feel if he goes to them, I would take him over Jonathan Taylor. I think there's an argument for that. Again, injuries in the past with Jonathan Taylor. He misses games just about every season, it feels like. Granted, last year, he was a league winner. I think last year, the last 3 games, he put up 20-plus fantasy points in every single game for you in the playoffs. So if you had him, you probably won because he was the league winner.
Right. And, think about it. Anthony Richardson's not going to be the starting quarterback there. They brought in they brought in Daniel Jones and paid him $14 million. They're not. I mean,
to compete. I mean, that's a whole different discussion for Richardson
for $14 million. I can see at 4 or 5 million, not at 14.
Yeah. I think Richardson gets it. I mean, it obviously depends on camp, but I'm hoping Richardson is using his biomechanic metrics, or their biometrics that he's learning from Chris Nash to elevate his passing skills like Josh Allen did. He's not the next Josh Allen. I'm not saying that, but that's the same person that Josh Allen used. So I'm hoping that happens. Hopefully this lights a fire on him and say, hey, I can't let Daniel Jones, a Duke quarterback, come in and beat me, right? So time will tell there. And
there's the other thing. They brought in Daniel Jones to take over.
I know. That says a lot. But if it comes to running backs, it'd be spicy if the Colts end up drafting Quinshon Judkins, and now we're really on the point each other's hair. I'm like, all right, who are we taking in, JT or Judkins there? That'll be fun to watch. Okay, so next one. You say Judkins, I say Jeanty. That's fair. I get it. The next one here. Let's see. Would you rather? This is two Ohio State wide receivers. This one's good. Would you rather Emeka Egbuka or Chris Olave?
Chris Olave scares me, man. He had some concussion problems last year.
Yep.
And he had a hard time coming back from them.
Right.
That, and then the quarterback he plays with, Derek Carr, has lost it. He's not what he was 5 years ago. So the injury problems in the QB play are definite red flags. If Egbuka goes to a solid passing game like Green Bay, which there's a lot of projections that's where he's going to go, then he definitely has the higher upside.
Okay. Or the tankathon here. They haven't gone into Cleveland, Emeka Egbuka at round 2, the first pick in round 2. I would absolutely hate that pick, just because I don't know what's happening in Cleveland. I would absolutely. They have Cedric Tillman. They have Jerry Jeudy. You have Njoku. It would just be a horrible landing spot, in my opinion.
It would, but Egbuka plays a slot, so
yeah. But do they have Shedeur going here? They have Abdul Carter. So now you're trusting who's their quarterback? They got rid of Jameis. I don't even know who their quarterback is out there. So
I don't think they know who the quarterback is.
Yeah, so I get that. You brought up health, and I brought up health and JT, him being hurt. I know the concussions are a thing with Olave. But man, when he's healthy, this is one of the best route runners in the game. Olave is a technician. I feel Olave taught Emeka Egbuka how to be a perfection at that route running, because I think Emeka Egbuka is a great wide receiver. I am as the wide receiver one of the class, because I think he's an all-around complete wide receiver. But if you're having them side by side and you're saying, all right, who is the wide receiver one? Concussions, that plays a factor, 100%. But I'm going to take Olave, man. In regards to Derek Carr, they're going to bring in another quarterback. It's not going to be Rattler. I think they're running short on Derek Carr right this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to trade him and bring in maybe a Kirk Cousins. I think that would be great. Just move on down the road a little bit.
Falcons aren't trading Kirk Cousins to the Saints.
I've seen dumber things happen, right? I mean, the Giants traded or let Barkley go to the Eagles. They traded, but they let them happen. Shot. There's never seen those from the NFL.
The only way Cousins goes there is if he gets cut. Falcons aren't going to trade him there.
Yeah, you never say never, Tommy. Never say never there. But I think that's a spicy one, because I think both are capable of being the wide receiver one. But if Olave is healthy, I think you got to give the edge to him. I think he's, again, that technician when it comes to route running. Egbuka, like you said, is a slot. He can play outside if you need him. But I think you could get more out of Olave as your wide receiver one there than you could out of Egbuka, in my opinion.
Olave just scares me with those concussion issues, and then the quarterback play is just both those bring him down considerably.
Yeah, but if Egbuka goes somewhere like Cleveland, I mean, you got to talk about quarterback play. That's got to bring him down somewhat. If they don't draft Shedeur in the first, and they get him.
I get it.
That would be even worse. I'll take Derek Carr all day over whoever they have in Cleveland. But so let's go into our next one here. This one, let me see, we talked about these guys, so let's actually go into it. T. Higgins or Tre Harris?
Higgins is a borderline wide receiver one if you're on a different team.
Okay.
I'm not sure Tre Harris ever reaches that kind of upside. If obviously Higgins has signed that big deal in Cincinnati, along with Jamar Chase, so he's the wide receiver 2 there, like almost permanently now.
Right.
But he's one of the best wide receiver. He's one of the top 2 or 3 wide receiver 2s in the league. Okay. Meaning he gives you fantasy wide receiver 2 production.
Right.
again, I just don't know if Tre Harris ever gets to that type of level. He might, but again, you're talking about a guy with bad hamstring issues.
Mm-hmm.
Does he? I think his game does translate to the NFL because he runs well. He's a physical guy.
It's bigger.
But I just don't see him ever reaching that type of upside that T. Higgins has.
Yeah, that's fair. I like Higgins to be there because Jamar Chase is a stretch wide receiver too because he plays physical down the field. Higgins, though, he's in a vertical offense with Joe Burrow. Mm-hmm. So he's that's going to stretch the field. You're not necessarily getting a bunch of those underneath type of plays from him because they can afford to make those throws down the field because you have a good quarterback that can make those throws.
And they throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, so you do have that upside in there. Tre Harris, though, with the right team, right? These are rookies. He can feast anywhere. He can beat you down. He can beat you in the middle. He has the skill set and the versatility to win routes up the middle and to find the soft spots and get yards after the catch as well. So I feel Tre Harris, you said you don't feel he could get to that T. Higgins level. I think he could be the one on the team that he goes to. Now, Tankathon has him going to the Jets. I don't necessarily love that. That would be just I'm not a big fan of that. Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson, I don't know. If he's the wide receiver 2, you could argue T. Higgins, but it's also the offense that T. Higgins is in where it's stronger. But I do think if Tre Harris ends up going to the Raiders instead of Jayden Higgins, I would love that too, even though I know the offense might not be as vertical, but I think that would be a great fit for him. I think Harris can be more physical. He has, like you mentioned, had those hamstring injuries. He has the capability of being their guy, though, and being a guy for the NFL. We saw it with Jackson Dart. You can see that with Harris, where he can just feast up the middle, and then here and there he can go down the field as well. So I would lean Harris here if I was given that shot between Harris and T. Higgins for me.
Well, that's the difference in between winning fantasy teams and losing ones, though. So you have fun with Tre Harris. I'm gonna keep T. Higgins.
Hey, you gotta take those big risks for big rewards, right? So there you go. So let's go on to the next one here. This one is a spicy one as well. Trevor Lawrence or Shedeur Sanders?
I mean, I think we've seen what Trevor Lawrence is at this point. Maybe Liam Cohen can get a little bit more out of him. I just see Lawrence has kind of been, a huge disappointment as, from what he was billed to be coming into the league. He was like, he was like the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck, right?
Yeah.
He hadn't done anything.
True.
I'd rather see what Shedeur can do now. All the red flags Shedeur has, he still has certifiable talent. So,
right.
I'd rather see what Shedeur Sanders can do because we've seen what Trevor Lawrence can do, and it's not much.
Right. Okay. So earlier I said no one's, a top quarterback starting in the past 6 years. Talked about number 1 pick, Cam Ward. We're talking about Trevor Lawrence here, number 1 overall pick, and he hasn't been the guy. We also know Liam Cohen right now, he looks like a magician what he do with Baker Mayfield in that offense. He said, hey, the offense is going to run through Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, Shedeur go to –
Liam Cohen also got Will Levis drafted, so –
yeah, true.
I mean, he made Will Levis look somewhat competent at Kentucky.
Yeah, true. And, yeah, Will Levis, fell to the second round, right? So I will take Trevor Lawrence here. I like what they have in the offense. I like Brian Thomas. Now, Tankathon has Shedeur going to the Giants at number 3. Ooh, now you're comparing
Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, now you have Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, and both were 1 and 2 when it came to the rookies, right? Malik Neighbors missed games. Brian Thomas did not, and he was still right up there as far as yards and touchdowns and everything, right? So a little bit different scenario. I think this offense, this is a kind of a year, a make or break year for Lawrence, right? Because if not, it's like we mentioned, a deep class. If Lawrence doesn't cut it, we may see him get traded. I mean, Mac Jones got traded as a top 15 pick from Patriots to the Jaguars. Now he's the backup to Trevor Lawrence. So this could be a year where it's like, all right, if you're not cutting it, here you go. But I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence, man, just because he is going to be comfortable in the offense. He knows what he has as far as his receivers. He already built that chemistry with your Brian Thomas Jr., and now you have Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. They do They did get rid of Evan Ingram, right? So now you had to worry about Brendan Strange. Maybe they draft a Tyler Warren, right? Maybe they get a Colestan Loveland in the first. Yeah. Now they have someone, capable of being a top tight end for them as well. But I'm going to give Trevor Lawrence just the edge over Shedeur here because, again, we've seen that potential. He hasn't showed it quite yet as far as the number one overall pick. But I think this is the year where it's like, hey, you either have to do it or you're not the guy. So I think there's a lot of pressure on him. I think he's someone that this is a time for him to rise and make sure he's that big time quarterback that they wanted as a number one overall pick as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll believe it when I see it with him. I haven't seen it. And Mac Jones is in San Francisco now.
San Fran now. Last year he got traded to the Jaguars, but now he's in San Francisco, and we'll see what happens there. Right. Next one, though, we're going to go on with another quarterback one, and this one got some heat over here on X, a while ago. Cam Ward or JJM? Now, this was the question on X was who's the better prospect? We're just saying who would you rather have? Don't worry, better prospect. Who would you rather have, Cam Ward or JJM?
I think I'd rather have Cam Ward right now. He's displayed way more potential just because, again, it's not quite fair to JJ McCarthy. JJ played in a really conservative run-heavy offense at Michigan while Ward got to show off his arm talent at Washington State and Miami. So I kind of lean towards what I've seen over what could potentially be with JJ McCarthy. Even though McCarthy has, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson. I just want to see what Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward's upside is better as a passer,
right?
Than what we've seen from JJ McCarthy. Now, obviously, if you're taking situation, you're taking JJ McCarthy's situation,
right?
I think I would just take Cam Ward's talent over JJ McCarthy's.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, here's something for you, though, because the situation, right, that does play a factor, right? If Cam Ward doesn't go one overall and he drops to Cleveland and they take him, that kind of it bums people out a little bit, I feel, regardless of what it is. But you talk about more conservative offense. Who's to say they don't play more conservative now? They re-signed Aaron Jones. You have who you have as a top 5 tight end in TJ Hawkinson, who I'm sure you have as a top 3 wide receiver in Justin Jefferson. Now you have Jordan Addison as a solid wide receiver too. Now you have a team that's like, hey, we're not throwing it down the field. We're going to play to your style. We're going to make sure you just get the ball down the field. Doesn't matter how many plays it takes. We just want you to move the chains. I think that's something where JJ can go in. Now, Cam Ward, he has gotten better through the years from his time at Incarnate Word. So when he started in college to Washington State to Miami, he has progressively gotten better in his accuracy. But yeah, he does throw jackpot balls a lot, right? He does throw it up there a lot. His arm is fantastic that he could throw those 70 yards down the field. But you can't play jackpot like he did in college at the NFL level when you have some very talented safeties or defensive backs covering your wide receivers.
Well, also look at it if Cam goes to Tennessee, he's going to play in a much worse division than what JJ McCarthy plays in. McCarthy plays in possibly the best division in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
Whereas the AFC South may be the worst division in the entire NFL.
Well, you have the Texans who have a top defense, right? You have a talented defense in Texans. The Colts struggled. They have a solid linebacking core, but they struggled defensive backs.
Jaguars aren't very good either.
Jaguars potentially can take, Travis Hunter, right, at the 5 spot if he's there. So a lot of these could change with that scenario. But, yeah, you do have that point. He is in a weaker division. But I also think it's a division where if you can't win in that division, you can't be a winner then, right? Where JJ comes in, it's like, all right, we know we struggle, but you got to get us some wins, get us 500. Reward, he can go 2-14 or whatever it is, 2-15, whatever, and that could be something that causes some struggle. We've seen time and time again where quarterbacks don't do what they need to do year one, and they struggle, and they just could never get back on their horse after struggling, that year one as well.
Well, let's also remember this is going to be JJ McCarthy's first year too.
True. Did play injury, and now there's no one, no one competing with him, right? To actually play it. It should be his team. Granted, things change, so it should be his team going forward. There's speculation they could get Kirk too. I'm throwing Kirk out everywhere. Kirk needs to go somewhere. But
there's also speculation Aaron Rodgers could sign with Minnesota too. So.
Yeah, follow the Brett Favre train, right? Just do what he did. So that's possible as well. But I think that's a very solid, like you said, situation. I think we could say JJM, assuming they, go more conservative. Talent, yeah. Cam Ward has proven he has that arm talent and the strength, but being that rookie, JJM, hopefully, national title team, he has the confidence of playing on a big stage, and that can translate over to the NFL there for him as well. Let's go on to the next one here. This is going to be a tight end one. I'm excited to see what you hear on this one. Kyle Pitts or Elijah Arroyo?
Kyle Pitts is still a tight end one if we're talking 12-team league.
Right.
Arroyo may not even be an NFL starter for a while. So, I mean, your opinions on if Pitts has been a bust or not. I mean, he's been a disappointment.
Yeah.
I mean, he has been, but he's still a tight end one production wise.
Right.
So I'm still going to go Kyle Pitts here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, his rookie year was fantastic, right? He was a great rookie, and then just went downhill from there. Arroyo does have the skill sets to be a tight end one as well. Is he as athletic as Kyle Pitts? No, but I do think Arroyo does have the skill set and the maneuvers to make some plays open the middle and get those touchdowns as well. So he will be a landing spot. I think he could be a day 2 tight end as far as being drafted, and that could be really well for him to just make that happen, right? So I do like Arroyo in that situation, and if Kyle Pitts doesn't do it, I'm gonna take that shot on Arroyo as well because the time is ticking for Pitts to say prove it, or he's moving somewhere else. But speaking on tight ends, here's our last this or that here. This is another tight end one. We're gonna say Colestan, Loveland, or George Kittle. Who you got?
I would trade Kittle for Loveland plus right now. I would have them kind of in the same similar range ranking as far as Dynasty goes. But the fact that Kittle is aging and on a declining team and kind of has a little bit of a bad back, I would try to trade him off for Colestan, Loveland plus something else. That's
fair. I really think they're very similar in talent. Like, I think they can do a lot of the same things. Kittle, I'm high on. I think, especially in tight end premiums, you have to take Kittle. Loveland, though, I think could be the next type of what Kittle is, right? Just a nice tight end that has the right move sets to be the quarterback's favorite target. He can get open down the field. He can get open just intermediate short routes. He can be out in the flats, all those kind of things that could make it happen, right? So I really do enjoy that. And I would take here, I'm kind of leaning Kittle, man. Kittle's the best of the last ones. I think he does 2-3 years of solid production. Where Loveland, it's right team, he could do it, but also, he needs to have it for consistency. So I would take Kittle in this situation. But yeah, if you could trade Kittle for Loveland plus, I'm all over that too, because I think Loveland's someone going in the first rounds, whether you're in tight end premium or not. So I do enjoy that there. Now, don't forget, for those tuning in, if you have any Devy questions, drop them in the comments. Leave us questions on X. We will be here to answer them. That was our this or that segment for the 2025 rookies and the veterans. If you're looking for positions, just insight on different positions, breakdowns, talking anything in the NFL, don't forget to subscribe to Player Profiler. Use our promo code DEGENS, DEGENS, and get $25 off your premium subscription. Don't forget about that there. But before we end the show, Tommy, we're going to go into some My Guys. That's what we've been doing for the 2025 draft. And this year, we're going to do the IDP, or this week, we're doing the IDP. I'm going to start off with my Wisconsin safety, a guy I've been high on since a couple years now, and Hunter Wohler. I think this guy is just a hard-hitting, straight to your face, aggressive type of safety that knows how to close it on the ball. He knows how to get production and coverage in the backfield. He can be your last security blanket when you're going deep. Quarterbacks are throwing deep. He's the one in the backfield making the plays. I absolutely love Hunter Wohler, and I think someone's going to get a steal comparing him to Harrison Smith. I think he has a type of game style where he is a hard-hitting, right-in-your-face type of safety, and I absolutely love what he can do there. Yeah, Wohler's gonna make some team really happy, probably about the third round, right? So there are other guys out there, but Wohler is going to be a gem for you in IDP leagues. Like I said, you're probably looking at him being a late day 2 guy, probably. Right. I'm not sure where Tankathon has him going right now. I'll be looking for you right now. Yeah, you can probably look it up there. But it's like you said, dude's aggressive. He's a
he's kind of a sniper out there, honestly.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's going to come hit you hard. He's going to come down the run game and really help out there. So yeah, I think that's a very solid pick for you.
I'm about to throw my phone because Tankathon doesn't even have him in the top 3 rounds. So
of course not.
But they've been wrong about their draft picks as well. But I absolutely love him. I think he could be great. And as you said, sniper, I like that. Hunter Waller, the sniper. I think he could go out there and make some big hits. You know, kind of that old school type of NFL player is what he does. But who's your guy?
My guy is Nick Emmanwori, the safety from South Carolina. Elite athleticism. Dude is a huge safety. I think he runs right about 6'3", 220. Is that what he's at? Yeah, 6'3", 220. Ran a 4.38 40. Benched 20. He benched 225 20 times. Vertical jump of 43 inches. The dude has it. You know, and he go back to his stats at South Carolina, man. Dude was all over the ball.
Oh yeah. Ball hawk.
You know, he was a ball hawk, dude. Pull up his stats right here, and I can share them with you here.
I absolutely love Emmanwori. You know, I think. Yeah, he's definitely someone that I feel he was kind of the heart and soul for that South Carolina defense when it comes to some of their players last year. You know, he made plays, as you mentioned, all around the field. He was someone that could go sideline to sideline. He was someone that you trusted in coverage. If you knew if he was back there that they're not necessarily getting the plays they need to. If the wide receiver caught the ball, they're not getting yards after the catch because he's right in their face as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he had four picks this past year, 57 solo tackles. I mean, that's what you're looking for as an elite safety. Obviously, playing in the NFL, you're probably going to play him down more in the box a little bit just because he is so big and so athletic. So you're probably looking at even more tackles there for you.
100%. And just for reference here, as we're using Tankathon as our reference, they have Nick Emmanwori going at 13 to the Miami Dolphins. They had Hunter Wooler going not in the first 3 rounds. So get the guy that has some high upside that is going to be possibly a first-round pick.
Draft capital.
To my sleeper. You know, you were going to say Hunter Wooler is the sleeper here. That's the guy you want to get potentially has some good value down the line there as well. But
you know, and also look at what Javon Holland did when he was in Miami. I think Emmanwori can do that plus some just because he's so much bigger.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I think Miami does need defensive backs too. So, you know, they are definitely going to get someone. Man, is it Emmanwori at 13? Who knows? When the draft, if Jeanty goes to 6 or, you know, something, I think someone's going to do something crazy and trade up, and it's going to affect some drafts, right? So it always happens every draft. So, I mean, it could happen this round, and they screw up Miami's plan because someone drafts ahead to get him, and now it's like, oh, we can't do that, right? So a lot of these happen come draft day. We are getting closer. Next week's episode is also going to be a draft day special. We're going to do something a little bit more creative, a little bit more fun for y'all when it comes to next week's episode, when it comes to the draft. But this is the Devy Degens on Profiler Plus and part of the Dynasty Degens as well. Until next time, I'm S. Romero. That is Tom Hardy. We are the Devy Scouts. So y'all take it easy. Peace.